Welcome, beloved Sangha, to our Jewel Ornament of Liberation series with our Venerable Khenpo Tenzin. We'll begin today's episode in the Yellow Garchen Buddhist Institute Prayer Book, page 4 and 5, with opening prayers. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Shakji Jarbu Jadun Gujan Zar Dorjin Janjin Delo Naro Dang Marbamala Juje Gamboba Pamodruba Jawan Dragongba Gaju Lama Namje Dajon Je Danandana Sera Damje Do Lama Lapa Lai Jizozong Lazon Yondin Jamzung Alawa Dende Donjin Rebe Gele Zor Dage Lo Chuzon Rovar Zinja Labdos or Chua Lamdan Rovar Zinja Labdos Lam Drova Zevar Zinja Labdos or Drova Yizon Javar Zinja Labdos or Gange Dinjin Remerjong Gamba Meba Jem Cheba Meba Ta Meba Wa Meba Ro Meba Ta De To Me Dunje Me Drupani Je Demba Zopasanje Mananj Tamba de la Janzar de Trenjen Sova Lama Jije Guzon Doje Zin La Da Da Dage Julam Bede Dage Demba Dan Sumje Jadon Labo Jin Rupra Zinje Labdo Sor Many interstellar Dharma brothers and sisters. Today we are the Jewel Ornament teaching. So Gambopa divides his treats into 6 main topics. The prime cause for attaining highest awakening, the Buddha nature, and the copper ground for achieving awakening, the precious human existence, the contributing condition that impels one to achieve it, the Dharma master, the means for achieving it, the instructions of the Dharma master, the result that is so achieve the bodies of Buddhahood, the enlightened activities that follow the attainment of Buddhahood. So today we are on the 4th, the means for achieving it, the instructions of Dharma masters. Actually, we all practice Dharma, so many Dharma friends uh, know what is meaning of Dharma. But sometimes we are unmindful, we will not apply real Dharma in the mind because of different afflictive emotions. Different afflictive emotions are like river, then it carries everything. Likewise, our peaceful mind carries away by different thoughts. Actually, there are many numbers of thoughts, but they all include two. Included in two: hope and fear, and then attachment and aversion. Through this way, many obstacles and sufferings occur. But we all have Buddha nature. In simple way, Buddha nature means beyond suffering and beyond the temporary happiness. So, why do we have suffering? Because we are deluded with those illusory things. But if we carefully think about these appearances, all of these appearances are illusory. For example, on the one person, we generally think there is a person, and then we fixate on it, and then through this way, fear and hope occur in our mind, and then we are suffering. So if we think carefully on a person's head and hands, legs, and then five sins, if we separate each and every things, then there is not truly exist any one. So if we recognize that, then we will not fixate on it. If we will not if we are not fixating on there, then that means liberate. So first, what should we know? Actually, what should we know? What should we understand is we have to confidence on emptiness and in the real things, in the real reality. Because if we have confidence on the real thing, reality, or the real nature, then we have we can purify these temporary obscurations. For example, the clouds just gathering in space from different directions, air moves them, but the clouds aren't truly exist in that in the same place. Similarly, this temporary fear and hope, attachment and aversions are not truly exist in our mind. So, in simple way, Buddha nature means liberate from liberated from fear and hope, attachment and aversion. Uh, but of course, we are quite difficult to understand clearly Buddha nature. That's where we are going to accumulate merit, and we are going to practice different practices. Uh, so that's why then in this jewel ornament liberation, it also has different branches. So then today we are going to teach about impermanence. Perhaps we all know gross impermanence, but what we know is not enough because it cannot change our attitude. Something changes in front of our eyes, but we still grasp it. So we should try to understand impermanence through the text, because Gampopa and many masters applied uh, their understanding of impermanence to the world around them, and they gained renunciation of samsara. However, since we have fixation on worldly things, then we cannot liberate from suffering. So, if we practice on impermanence, then we will be able to see the fatality of our activities, which are useless. Then we began to step onto the path of liberation. It has also gross and subtle impermanence. Today we will discuss on the subtle impermanence. The subtle impermanence of the uh, uh, environment is that of the this part we already discussed. Yeah, maybe second today. The second technique of liberation contemplates the impermanence of the inner essence, sentient beings, uh, first considering the impermanence of others and then one's own impermanence. The impermanence of others, all conscious beings in the three realms are impermanent. It says in the vast manifestation Sutara. Are we there? Or the subtle impermanence? Last we stopped on the subtle impermanent, probably. I little bit jumped. It's okay. I will read this part. The subtle impermanence of the environment is that of the flutes of the four seasons, the rising and setting of the sun and the moon, and uh, moment change. Yeah, so the sun and moon, sun and moons are arise from east mountain, but then evening, they will non-stop. Whether it says the sun and moon move or not, the earth also move. But however, what we know is uh, the morning time they arise from east direction, and evening they set in the west direction. Similarly, our life is like the sun and the moon, because first we became child in our mother's womb, and then mothers gave birth us, and then we grow, we become teenager, adult, and then whatever, uh, the step by step we will forward towards death. Whether we like it or not, we don't have choice. We don't have choice. So if after death everything, if there's no anything, no fear, no suffering, then it's okay. But death is like a dream. So whether in the daytime we are healthy, happy, uh, we have eating food, drinking water, wearing the clothes, and having many friends and so forth. But in the night, in the dream, sometimes we dreams very dangerous uh, situations. Similarly, and in the dream, it's quite hard to understand, or that is a dream. Similarly, after death, then we have lots of uh, sufferings, because we have to travel in Pardo. So Pardo is illusory form, and in the Pardo sometimes Yadam deities appear, but we will not able to understand they are Yadam deities. So then we scared them. Uh, if we will not practice, we are not practice well in this life, then in the Pardo, whatever appears, whatever heard, all of things are scary things. Uh, so perhaps you have experienced that smoke offering practice in evening. It mentioned in details about Pardo's beings. They are very much scared to other things, and they always feel loneliness. They try to run away from scary things, but they do not have freedom. So now we are uh, practicing Dharma, which means during the Pardo, we have to see our guru and our gurus, and we have to see Yadam deities. In the Pardo, if we see gurus and Yadam deities, it does not enough. We have to know they are come to help us, come to protect us. So right now, if we practice on it, on the Dharma well, and then in the Pardo, we easily can see Yadams and Gurus, and then we can they protect us, and through this way we can liberate. For instance, right now if we're training about dream yoga, and then for example this month we're training the dream yoga. probably next month or few months later, we can practice on it. And then at that time, we have different dreams we were able to understand, which means we liberated the illusion of dream. In the same way, in the next life, in the Bardo stage, right now we're training, practice Dharma, and then during the Bardo stage, sometimes very scary things appear, and we immediately easily understand they are illusory things. So we will not fixate on them, and then we will not scared with them. So this is a very important. And but not only Pardo, in the Pardo maybe we can remain around 49 days or so forth. But then we go to if we rebirth in the lower realms, then in the hell realms, and the hungry ghost realm, animal realms, even in the human realm, how many we have suffering. For example, right now, uh, in this world, everybody has different sufferings. So we have to learn from our own experience, and then we practice Dharma. If we practice Dharma, then we can practice Dharma purely, clearly. If we think Dharma is just one subject, and if we think whether we practice Dharma, I just have interesting to practice Dharma, and at that time we practice, and then sometimes we think, oh, I don't have interesting to practice Dharma. If we do like that, I think still the part of practicing Dharma, it cultivates merit, but not so much benefit to us. So Dharma practice means we should practice Dharma day in and day night. And also we have to understand that Dharma really benefits us. Dharma benefits my mind. When I was suffering, I had when I am now, also Dharma helps me. Also, if future something happened, only Dharma can help me. If we have this view, this thinking, then practicing on Dharma, it greatly benefit to us. So we have to understand the benefiting of Dharma practice. And then particularly the impermanence. Right now we are talking about impermanence. Whatever we have, externally, we have many material things, many facilities, but eventually they will not remain us permanently. And internally, our body, right now, our flesh, bone, blood, they are very important for us, but eventually we should separate with them because they are impermanent. So they cannot hold us permanently because they are impermanent. So we don't want to too much fixate our own body, and also we don't want to too much fixate these external things. But I don't mean we are going to reject all of them. So we should take care of our body for the sake of cultivating merit, for practicing Dharma, and also the external things, we can keep them, we can buy them, we can sell them for the benefit of others. This is also important. We benefit to others through we help others, we benefit to others through this way, then we can be happy. If we try to make happy oneself and do everything for oneself, this cannot cultivate happiness. So Buddha, how cultivate happiness and how we are cultivating happiness, they are a little different. Buddha benefit to others, so then he is happy. He was happy. He is happy. He well happy. How? If we try to benefit to others, at that time we are going to forget self-grasping, egoistic mind. But not only forget, we have to first we try to think more others more than oneself. Think others more than oneself. And then slowly we try to understand I is illusory. Now we just check oneself. Where is I? We cannot find I. We cannot find I in our head. We cannot find I in our torso. We cannot find I in our limbs. So I is not exist outside of our body, not exist inside of our body. That's why I is temporary. I and grasping is temporary. It's like ice water. The weather is getting cold. It frozen. It froze. So we, if we realize that there is no I, at that time, then we do not have suffering. All the suffering comes from egoistic mind. So when we think others, at that time we forget I. At that time we are liberated. At that moment we liberate from suffering. So we should try to help others as much as possible. Physically, sometimes we cannot help others, and we cannot give material things to others. It's okay. But we practice Dharma, we meditate Dharma, always think this is for benefit others. Of course, it greatly benefit to others, and at the same time, it greatly benefit to ourselves. We often say bodhicitta, bodhicitta. The real bodhicitta is think others and help others. If you can say any single word, a good word for others, we try to do it. So we can greatly benefit for others through our compassion, through our bodhicitta mind. But why don't we help others? because we are fixated in the samsaric things. And then how we should liberate from these samsaric things? We should understand impermanence. We should understand impermanence. So, Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and all the Nalinda masters and all Mahasiddhas, however, all the authentic practitioners, first they practiced on the impermanence. So Buddha also he first time gave the teachings. He said all compounded things are impermanent. Buddha gave this instruction to his Sangha. Otherwise, his Sanghas cannot stay without a house. His Sangha has only one begging bowl, only one Dharma rope. No shoes on their feet. They're journeying from forest to forest. They come to ask lunch in the village. That's all. They will not save many things. So this power of thinking comes from the realization of impermanence. Perhaps we think, oh, if we practice impermanence, then we do not need anything. Then maybe it's quite hard to improve these worldly activities. This is also a misunderstanding. Merit, Dharma practice, when we practice Dharma, it cultivates merit. The power of merit, everything's occur. For example, Buddha says, for example, Milarepa, he stayed in the cave, solitary place. He stayed alone, but he did not become starvation. Because the power of merit. So even he has some wild food, and also the actually we call samadhi food. So through this merit, and then slowly Milarepa, he also has wonderful offerings from sponsors and other sanghas. Milarepa. So this is the example. The true practice on impermanence, if we have those wonderful things, we can utilize them to cultivate merit for benefit others. So I don't mean we are going to reject them. If we do not have them, but still okay. Right now, if we have something, we have a lot of worry. Perhaps somebody steal it. Perhaps it was lost. Perhaps something happened. But if we do not have, still problem. I don't have that. I don't have this. So the hope and fear, attachment, aversion, everything occur from there. So if we gain the realization of impermanence, then if we have these material things, we can utilize them to cultivate merit, offering to the gurus and yidams and so forth. And if we do not have those material things, we have no problem. So, and if sometimes we lost, for example, we have very good things, some kind of a precious thing. If we lost it, or we break it, or somebody steal it, we don't have problem. We do not have problem. Why? Because because the realization of impermanence. We already know sooner or later it will change. Sooner or later it will happen something because of impermanence. So then it really happened, we will not suffer. So there are great benefits if we practice well on impermanence. But then in this book text, it mentioned many examples. Why? Because just everything are impermanence is quite hard to keep in our mind. We don't have much feeling, deep feeling, but it brings many examples. Through this way, then we will gain we will be able to experience, and then we can change the way of how to say our view. Let us consider the first of these. Due to the powerful influence of the coming of spring, our environment, the world changes as follows. The land becomes of soft and ruddy in color, and the trees, grass, and the plants. But, however, this is but the manifestation of a transitory period. Due to the powerful influence of the coming of summer, the land becomes predominantly deep green, and leaves and branches grow on the trees, grass, and plants. These too is but the manifestation of a transitory period. Due to the powerful influence of the coming of autumn, the land then hardens and is predominantly golden. Its trees, grass, and plants bear fruit. This too is but the manifestation of a transitory period. Due to the powerful influence of the coming of winter, the land becomes frozen and wettish, and the trees, grasses, and the plants are dried up and brittle. This too is but the manifestation of transitory period. Yeah, we all have this experience, but how we utilize this experience? We say, oh, this is the winter time, we are going to wear thick clothes. Oh, this is summer time, we don't want to wear thick clothes. We just understand only that part. Understand, or we utilize like that. But practitioners, especially who has the realization of impermanence, they can improve their realization of impermanence within the every movement things, like four seasons, like the movement of the sun and the moon. So if we do not have too much fixate in the samsara, then Buddha's stage is not so far. Buddha's stage is actually we are always near by the Buddha's stage, but between the Buddha's stage and us, we created many uh, duplicate things, deluded things. Uh, Perhaps you think if we just recognize the Buddha nature, we do not need many of these parts like a realization of impermanence, renunciation of samsara, and so forth. But this is also right, but it's depending. It's depending practitioners. For example, someone understand Buddha nature for this moment, but then this understanding or realization is changeable. It is changing. It's like a water in the summertime. There is no frozen. In the winter, it becomes frozen. S- Likewise, in afflictive when afflictive emotions arise in the mind, become ordinary beings, and then the suffering, obstacles, everything exists. So we cannot liberate. So why do we need to emphasize more of these things? Because we are going to liberate from suffering completely. So we are emphasizing on there. And then now let us consider impermanence in terms of the rising and the setting of the sun and the moon. The power of a day breaking makes our environment, the world, become light and bright. The power of night falling makes it disappear into darkness. These are also signs of impermanence. Uh, the sun and the moon are other planets. They will remain for eons, more longer than us. We can live in this world maybe 100 years, 100 year, 100 year. If we can live in this world 100 year, maybe 20 years already gone, 30 years already gone. But still we have more obstacles, different disease, different uh, obstacles. Even even we have very even medicines sometimes become cause of death. Mm. So uh, our life is very, how to say, very simple, like a water bubbles. In the water, as the water bubble, if we bring a small piece of grass and we simply we touch it, it will disappear. Our life is like that. So uh, we uh, we all expect happiness, uh, but we experience temporary happiness. These temporary happiness are temporary, and another name is impermanent. So we should gain uh, genuine happiness, which is called blissful bliss. So bliss is in real nature. uh, to gain this uh, happiness or bliss, then we are going to purify these temporary perceptions or conceptions. How to purify this temporary perception and conception are because we have to realize impermanent. We we did not say the our body is permanent. Maybe we do not say that, but we have this fixation. For instance, yesterday we have one flower, and today also we think that is same flower. But that flower, moment to moment change. So yesterday flowers, today's flower are same. That perception is perception of permanent. Then, since we have this kind of a perception, we will not able to liberate samsara. Samsara means cyclic exist. How to cyclically exist is internally there are 12 links of interdependence, ignorance, and so forth. Then externally, sufferings, the suffering of suffering, changing of suffering, and pervasive suffering. So, what we do not need these sufferings, but we cultivate the cause of sufferings. So, I'm not criticized to us, but I'm talking in the reality. So, we if we have to liberate these sufferings, then we have to gain some view or some realizations. Then it's finally let us consider impermanence in terms of moment by moment change of our environment. The world of one small instance of time does not persist into the next instant of time. It gives the impression of remaining the same, yet in fact something similar has taken its place. It's exemplified by cascading water. The second technique of meditation contemplates the impermanence of the inner essence, sentient beings, first considering the impermanence of others and then one's own impermanence. The impermanence of others, all conscious beings in the three realms are impermanent. It says in the vast manifestation sutra, the three realms are impermanent like autumn clouds. Do you know autumn clouds? Autumn clouds means it's very they gathering in the space, but immediately gone. So, as I mentioned, secular exist. Secular exist means there are human realms and the God's realms and the lower realms. Wherever we travel, we will not able to remain there permanently. Perhaps it's a good news if we were not able to remain in the lower realms, especially hell in the hell realm, because hell realm in 24/7 suffering there. But if we remain in the human realms 1 year and we remain in the hell realm for 1 hour, that 1 hour is more longer than 1 year in human realm. That's we can uh, understand, because sometimes we have a party party with the friends, or stay some happily, but uh, happily 1 day, for example. That day is so fast or so short. We feel it like that, and sometimes we are have some uh, mm, challenges or difficulties or something. At that time, each hour is, we feel it's so long. So we can learn it through this way. Mm. Especially if we will rebirth in the Gauss realm, we were able to rebirth in Gauss realm because we cultivated different merit. Because and but eventually they will uh, exhaust their merit, and they know they will rebirth in the hell realm or lower realms, even human realms. They were so much suffer. For example, right now someone say you should go to the jail. How much suffer? It's same. Generally, they remain there for joyfully, but they feel that is not so long. They're in the God's realm, the beings, how to say, in the God's realm, the gods, they will uh, be able to, how to say, they will living there for a long time, but they cannot feel that. Mm. So then, if we say we will rebirth in the human realm, probably 90% of our brothers and sisters, they will not so much uh, happy to rebirth in this realm, in this, I mean, human realm, because we all experience different sufferings. Then in the animal realm and uh, hell realm, of course, we will not like to rebirth in those realms. But only one thing, this is special. If we will, if we are bodhisattvas, then we have uh, voluntarily we uh, love to take rebirth in the other realms. It's no matter hell realm or hunger ghost realm or animal realms. We can take rebirth for benefit of others. But that is, they take rebirth freely. They have freedom. Mm, how they gained this freedom? Because they completely uh, remove kind of clothes of the uh, grasping on their Buddha nature. That's where they have freedom. Mm. Okay, then one's own impermanence is based on understanding that I also have no power to remain in this life and must go on to another. The way to understand This is twofold. One, by examining your own existence, and two, by applying to yourself what is observed of others' existence. The way to meditate on the first of these is as follows: meditate on death, on the specific characteristics of death, on the exhaustion of life, and on separation. Oh, yeah. Meditation on death is to contemplate. I will not stay long in this world, and will soon be moving on to into the next. Meditation on the specific characteristics of death involves contemplating the thought. This life force of mine will be used up. Respiration will stop, and this body will take on the appearance of a corpse. While this mind will be obligated to wander off to another life. Meditation on the exhaustion of life is to contemplate. Since a year ago, a year has passed, and now my life is precisely that much shorter. Since a month ago, a month has passed, and now my life is precisely that much shorter. From yesterday until today, a day has gone by, and now my life is precisely that much shorter. A moment has just gone by, and my life is precisely that much shorter. As it says in Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, without or ever stopping for even a day or a night, this life is constantly on the wane. Because that what is left diminishes and disappears, he could the likes of me not die. So as here it says, actually we call death. We always think death. Eventually we will dead. That I think everybody thought like that. Thought like that. One day we will. But death is only we breathe out. If we cannot breathe in, that means death. We're not sure when it comes, when it will come. If it comes, if it will come, at that time we have no problem, no suffering. Then, but still, then it's okay. But that is not easy like that. If I bring a simple example, right now we have lots of objects, lots of things, and it's real. The death comes at that moment. We strongly attached on them. So we are meditate on the practice on impermanence, impermanence, it greatly help at that time. Because real death comes, we cannot take, even, of course, we cannot take these material things. We cannot take our own body. And then we have many friends, relatives, they cry, but the Lord of Death does not say, I will compassion to your friends. Of course, we will separate our friends, relatives. Even this body, we will separate our body. That's where the Bodhisattva's way of life in 37 it is mentioned. Our bodies are like a guest house, and our consciousness are like guests. Okay, Mahasiddhas, great practitioners, they also rented the guest house of our body, their body. We also rented this. But what is different between them? They real feel that these bodies are like a guest house. If we will go to some place, we rent a guest house. It's same. We don't think this guest house are our own. We pay money. That's all. Maybe next morning we not fold our blanket. We just because we don't have attached with them. Yeah, just life. But it's the same way the Mahasiddhas and these great practitioners, they also rented their bodies, but they did not fixate on it. So now we should have to understand this body, how much we take care for this body. But one day this body batteries us. Okay, if this body will not batteries to us, but our consciousness do not need our body. One day it will leave. How does it leave? It's the same like a dream. For example, last night you sleep in your bedroom wearing very nice, gentle blankets. But in the dream, you travel to different place, maybe very dangerous place, and you dreamed very dangerous dreams. But at that time, your body is in your bed, but your consciousness traveled along within different sufferings. So this life and sleeping in the dream and morning we wake up, these and this life, next life, pardo life, no difference. So we have to know what we will experience. Exactly in the pardo we will experience. We will have more attachment actually. For example, after death, and somebody use your things. If you have a favorite book, somebody use it. You have attachment on. you have fixation on your book, that you're fixate on your book. It's same way, s- same thing when you travel to the Pardo. At that time, your things used by other people, even they are not your friends, you have more fixated on there. At that time, you cannot bring them back. Right now, you can bring back. You can ask, "Oh, that is my book. Please give me." Maybe you can say, "Please give me it after you read, after 1 week or 1 day. Give me back." You can ask, but then in the Pardo, you try to ask, but you can't. Mm. Okay. Then meditation on the exhaustion of life is to contemplate. Since a year ago, a year has passed, and now my life is precisely that much shorter. Since a month ago, a month has. Did I read this? I read. Sorry. Okay, so year, month. 1 year we have 360 days, and 1 year we have 12 months. Then all they are movement. We will not able to bring them back. We can ask to our friends, please wait for me 1 hour or 1 day or something, but we cannot ask to time, please wait for me. This morning, see, and now, right now, we just think, we can think this morning, but that morning will not back, nor come back. So, so we have no reason to too much fixate in this life and for this life. We cannot give up. Suddenly, we cannot give up because since the beginningless time, we fixated for this life, and so it is for a long time fixation. So it's quite hard to reject uh, the material things, and we cannot stop the activities of the worldly situation. But step by step, we try to purify these fixation, and we try to reduce our attachment in this life. So generally we think, okay, today is fun, maybe next day or next week or next month or next year I will do some perfectly. That everybody think like that, but thought like that. But now we are discuss on the impermanence, and so you precisely think on this and try to reduce fixation, attachment. The moment of you listen this teaching, this is the best moment to open the knots of fixation. Don't wait for it. You should start right now. If you do that, then the Dharma teachings are benefit to you. uh, then we have no doubt what this text says. It's real, yeah? Years, month, day, everything gone, everything movement. So this is true. We should trust on it. I often said, faith, trust. Trust is worldly, how to say, mundane vocabulary. Faith is dharma vocabulary. Faith developed, it will become the view. When we gain the view, we do not have doubt. If we do not have a doubt, we can decide. Decisively, we can decide. If we decisively decide, then we do not have fear. Fear comes from doubt. If we have fear, then we have hope. Okay. Meditation on separation is to contemplate the friends and relatives, wealth and possessions, body and so forth that I have at present that I value so much will not always be able to accompany me. Soon will we be parted. As it says in Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, by not knowing that I will not have to leave everything behind and depart. So we will not sure who will leave early, but someone doing lots of things for one's relatives and one's friend. Yes, we should do for the sake of our friends and relatives. How to do is we should help through compassion, through bodhicitta, loving kindness mind, especially try to help them the karma cause, understand the karma cause and the effect. It greatly benefits them in this life and the next life and the pardo life until become enlightened. It benefits to them. Otherwise, if we do too much to one's friends and relatives, they also do not have freedom. They will attach to you, but their bodies are impermanent. Their mind is also impermanent. If you do good things, they will happy. If you do some small bad things, they will unhappy. Before many very good friends, but then just as you utilize some few harsh word, maybe once a single harsh word, your best friend becomes your enemy. There is no question why and how, because impermanent. Same like relatives. Relatives, they have connection through blood. Relative means they have a connection through blood. But some reasons, like economic reason, power, or some different reasons, they also become enemies. But if your friend will not become your enemy, your relatives not become your enemies, but one day, if I say one day, it will depart. Perhaps we will die early than them. Perhaps they will. And then we don't have any other choice. Only cry, and that's all. So we, of course, we should help. We do not misunderstand. Oh, friends and relatives, they are impermanent. They soon we will be departs with them. Then we do not help them. This is misunderstand. But how to help? This is very important. That's why I say we share karma cause and effect. Perhaps one thinks, what is the karma cause and effect? Is it water or food or clothes? Karma, understanding karma cause and effect is more valuable than those things. Because they trust karma cause and effect. For example, if they eat spicy food, then what is the result on your tongue and the lips? And if you eat sweet food, what is the result on your tongue and your lips? They trust. First they understand, and then they trust on there, and then they will not make mistakes. If they will not make mistakes, then they will not suffering. That's why I say if you help them through dharma way, dharma path, that is a real help, and that is a real benefit to them, because you help them to purify the cause of sufferings. If they do not have a cause of suffering, then they will not suffer. It's like a parents how help to their children. Right now, parents they spend their children in the school. Children they do not know if they will become educated people, and then how much they can they cannot understand the benefiting of education. But parents know, that's where they spend lots of money and they spend lots of time for their children, and they spend in school year by year until graduated from university and so forth. And then they graduated from university, and then they become educated. And then some children take care of their parents. They know they are so great for their parents. This is an example. So if some so we help to our friends and relatives how to cultivate bodhicitta, loving kindness. If someone has loving kindness in their mind, they have less suffering. Why? Because loving kindness, love or loving kindness means they think others more than themselves. When they think for others, and then they have their egoistic mind has no power to hold the suffering. Person who has a strong egoistic mind, that person has more suffering. Person who has a less egoistic mind, that person has less suffering. Why? Because person who has a strong egoistic mind, then attachment and aversion automatically arise from their mind, and then fear and hope also appear from their mind. It's like in the river, big river, there is in a big river has a big stone. Then waves just occur from there. And of course, we can help to our friends and relatives through material things, money and so forth. This is also important. It greatly benefit. It greatly benefit. At the same time, these helps are how to say, for how much benefit to them is also very much related when you help them through your compassion and loving kindness and sincere motivation and so forth. So we do not misunderstand, or we help them through to understand karma cause and effect. Then we do not need help them with material things. I don't mean like that. Of course, we can help others with these material things, and there are different layers how to help. Among them, if we help them to understand karma cause and effect, these are very, very helpful. That is what I try to say, explain here. And then, yeah, as it says in the guide to the Bodhisattva way of life, by not knowing that I will not have to leave everything behind and depart. Yeah. Alternatively, one could engage in the ninefold way of meditating on death. The ninefold technique is centered on three main contemplations. I will certainly die. The time of death is definite. And when I die, nothing whatsoever can accompany me. There are three reasons it is certain one will die. One, no one previously has escaped death. Have you heard that? Anyone could escape death? Maybe you watched that Buddha's life story, Shakyamuni Buddha's, and the one mother's child died, and of course she was so much suffering, and then she carried her dead body of her child in her arms, and then she met Buddha, and she asked to Buddha, please, how to say, help me to alive my child. What do you think? If you were Buddha, what should you ask? What should you answer to that mother? I thought what Buddha will say. I just thought that, but Buddha said first. But at that time she was so cry and actually that was movie, yeah. But she was cry and she was so sad that. But then Buddha said, "Okay, you went to the town and then uh, you check who well never dead before, and also who can after death who can make alive again. Uh, if you found it, then I can help it." So then she went to different villages and asked that, but she of course she could not find it. And then this is uh, then she knows one day every all living beings will uh, die. No one will has escaped death. So she noticed that. And then the best thing is after death, one's relatives and friends, so forth, practice dharma for them. It helps. How it helps? I already mentioned that in the Pardo beings they are 24/7 suffering. Even you recite a single mantra, they come to you and they were happy. For example, if you are alone, travel in the very deep forest, there are lots of dangerous animals, and you are so scared for them that, and you come and you met a person, even you heard someone's sound, say hello, what you will you feel that? So Bardo beings have more than that, and then second, the body is a composed phenomena. It's very true, very true. Blood, flesh, bone, and so forth. However, right now we call it body. It's 5 elements gathering together. Our breath is part of the air. Air comes and go. Our blood are part of water. Flesh is part of the earth. So they they just compose together, or one day they will separate. Mm. Then third, life is consumed from moment to moment. Mm. One, it is certain I will die because there was no one in the past who did not die. The great masters Aswangosha said, if ever you see or hear about someone on earth or in the upper realms who is considered immortal, doubt it. Therefore, even seers of truth, seers, rishis, rishis of truth cannot find a place to go to escape death and encounter immortality. They will all die, not to mention the likes of us. Rishis, they have, why I bring here rishis? Because they have lots of powers, but they do not have power to remain permanently in this world. It is said even the great rishis endowed with the 5 steps of clear cognition who travel far through space would be able to travel to some place where they can enjoy immortality. Based these, even realized beings such as practical Buddha or Sharavika, Arhats, had to leave their bodies in the end. What then for the likes of us? Therefore, it says in the collection of aphorisms, when even the practical Buddhas and the Sharavikas, disciples of the Buddhas, have to quit their bodies, what need is there to speak of ordinary beings? Have you ever met a 130 years old person? If I ask, we should ask ourselves. No, rishis. Here it says rishis, yeah. But have you ever met 130 years old? Maybe some say yes, it's possible, one or two. Have you ever met 200 years old person? No. Have you ever met 5 months or 5 months old young child? Yes. Yeah, we all met. 50 years, 60 years, 80, 100 year, very few. 80, very few, yeah. 90, very few. And 100, maybe we can count with these fingers. We do not need a calculator. So, and then think really ourselves. We really not sure. Today is okay, maybe tomorrow a headache. We're not sure that a small headache is cause of death or not. So I'm not scared to you. I'm not talking about bad things, but this is nature, whether we like it. We don't like it, which means we don't like to death, actually. Yes, there is one spiritual understand. As Milarepa said, if we gain the realization of Buddha nature, then there is no come and no go, no birth and no death. If you have a perception of birth, then death is exactly remains there. If you are understanding the birthless, no coming and no going, at that time we will not die. Can we escape from death? Okay, this is quite debatable. Here says we will, even rishis cannot escape from the death, yeah? But here I'm starting to say we can escape from death. What is what are the difference? The difference is, as our gurus often mentioned, if we know our Buddha nature, the Buddha nature is as empty space. As in the 37 way of Bodhisattva, it's very beginning, it supplicated to, prostrated to Avalokiteshvara. It says all phenomena neither come nor go. We are including them. So all phenomena neither come nor go, which means our real altruistic mind, it is like an empty space. There is no coming, no going. How we should recognize that? Our altruistic mind is no coming and no going, neither come nor go. How should we understand? We should meditate there. How to meditate? Be mindful. We should be mindful. Otherwise, we think, oh, I'm going to do retreat. We make many plans, but we cannot do it. At least once a day, try to think on the Buddha nature. First, you need aspiration, enthusiasm. and then think more. Our real Buddha nature is neither come nor go. Our altruistic mind, intrinsic awareness, these are neither come nor go. But this body are coming and they will go. Because they are related over perception, thoughts, dualistic thinking. This dualistic thinking has power, but it is limited. It only can see these temporary things, but it cannot see the real Buddha nature. It's so we Reno here says no one escaped from there. That means this in the relative form, this ordinary body is just composed with the different things, different phenomena, and then they are inside of this composition. Our consciousness enters inside. Inside. We call it life. But one day they all separately go. One day they will separate each others. We call that part is death. That's where, since we, perhaps you think, okay, if we Guru Rinpoche, for example, Guru Pema Sambhava, they did not die, because in some prayer says that, yeah. So we have to understand the same meaning that Milarepa said. Milarepa's disciples, they hoped that Milarepa will remain permanently. Same as we have same hope, our gurus remain permanently. But from themselves, they will remain permanently. What is the proof? For example, Milarepa, he stayed alone in the cave, meditation cave, and he supplicated to the Marpa, and then he saw Marpa, which is the power of his faith and his practice, and that means Marpa remain. But what Milarepa pointed out, the Marpa and we pointed out Marpa are different. We say Marpa's body is, we thought Marpa's body is Marpa. That's where then that is disappeared, and that is impermanent. But Milarepa pointed out that Marpa means Milarepa, his mind, natural mind. So that's where whenever he needs to see, he can see it. So that's where Milarepa's mind and Marpa are inseparable. They always being together. So now we are quite hard to experience like that. Even our guru remains in front of our eyes, but still we have separation thinking, perception. Oh, this is a guru, this is mine. Yeah, this is a guru's body, this is my body. It's okay, we can, it's a little difference. But guru's mind and our mind, there's no difference. Ganges River and Tibetan has a Zangbo River. Zangbo River, we call different name. Ganges River or Ganga River and Zangbo River, We call different, we label different name, and we see different rivers. But in the reality, they're both water. If I bring Tsangpo River and pull into the Ganga River, there are no difference. There are little difference is color, little difference of the taste maybe, but this is not water's color is not water. Water's taste are is not water. Yeah. So in the water, the Tsangpo River and the Ganga River has no difference. Similarly, our mind and Guru's mind no friend, and between the sanghas mind no different. Even our mind and ants and other bugs, there are also no different. So when we realize that, when we gain that realization, then no birth, no death. If we will not gain this realization, definitely we have a birth, we have a death. And birth, we have lots of, during the birth, we have lots of suffering. During death, we have more suffering. When our mother give birth, at that time, karmic wind move our body in mother's womb. Sometimes right before we come out from mother's womb, we dislike to remain in mother's womb. That dislike, we like to come out from that womb. See? And when we dead, at that moment, we like to stay in our house. Because we fixate our house, we fixate our car, we attached our friends and relatives. But we will not have freedom. That's where we are suffering. So then where is therefore even the great rishis that are besides these, even realized beings such as practical Buddhas or Sharavikas, Arhat, had to leave their bodies in the end. Then what then forth like of us? Therefore it says collection of all these already recited. Yeah, practical Buddhas. Do you know who are Sharavikas? Mongar Putara and Sharuputara. They were being together with the Buddha. But themselves, they did not die because they gained the realization of neither come nor go. All the phenomena neither come nor go. But from our side, when Mongar Putara's name exists in the scripture, his instructions exist in the Heart Sutara, but his body we were not able to see. Besides this, even realized beings such as practical Buddha or Sharavikas, Arhats, had to leave their bodies in the end. What then for the likes of us? Therefore, it says in the collection of aphorisms, when even the practical Buddhas and the Sharavikas, disciples of the Buddhas, have to quit their bodies, what need is there to speak of ordinary beings? Besides this, if even the totally purified, utterly perfect emanation body, Nirmanakaya, adorned with the marks and signs of a supreme being, whose very nature was like a Vajra, had to leave behind his body, then so much the more it is true of ordinary folk like us. The greater master Asvigosha said, even if even the Vajra bodies of the Buddhas adorned with the special marks and signs are impermanent, then there is no point even mentioning other beings' bodies which are like planting trees. Mhm. It is certain I will die because my body is something composed. Any compost whatsoever is impermanent, and every compost and destructible by nature. The collection of aphorisms says, alas, all composts are impermanent, characteristics by birth and decay. Birth and decay. So this impermanence is one thought of among the four thoughts. Yeah. So practitioners first they practice precious human life. But precious human life is very rare to gain in it. After we gained it, then it utilized for dharma practice. If it will not use for dharma practice, precious human life is also impermanent. So then the impermanent gained impermanent. Then the realization of impermanent, they gain the realization of impermanent. If one gained the realization of impermanent, then one automatically will practice dharma perfectly. Because many masters, maybe if you read their life stories, even they don't have time to do different things. They thought, okay, one master, maybe you remember, his cave, just beside his caves, the door, they grow some plants like a thorn. And when he went out and come in, it hold his clothes, his robe. He often thought he had to cut it. He has to cut it. But after he thought, oh, it's better to practice. I'm not sure I will die tomorrow or not. So they have like that. Then diligence. Right now we say you should keep diligence. You should practice. You keep you should make efforts for dharma practice. But still quite hard. Even oneself, I really want to practice dharma, but we have many excuses. Yeah, all of these things are we tells that us we do not have practice well on impermanent. If we practice well on impermanent, almost I can say spontaneously we will become great practitioners. But how to practice on impermanent? We don't want to do some stay in the solitary cave. Only we run away our bodies. It's does not help us. We are going to be mindful on impermanence day in and day night. Frequently think on it. Meditation means become familiar. Become familiar means we should repeat something. First time little hard, that's where we say be mindful. Second time we distracted with the different things, that's where we say be mindful. And eventually it then goes, it's like a river goes into the ocean. So at that time we could be able to mindful automatically. So impermanence is not only mentioned about death. In this life, whatever we have powers, possessions, whatever we have, they all changeable. They will change sooner or later. They will change, and also this is very important. This in this kind of this moment or in this century, many people's mind is filled to the brim by competition, and we have lots of competitions. So if we have a realization of impermanence, we will not have strong competition, especially we will not destroy to others. Why do we start to destroy to others things and so forth? We are fixated on these things. We thought that is real. He or she has a very good these good things, and we cannot rejoice on it, and we start to destroy it on it. So if we have realization for impermanent, I don't want to make hard work to destroy these other things. Sooner or later, it will happen, become impermanent. It will become impermanent because its nature is impermanence. Impermanent. So we think like that, then we are more relaxed. And then ourselves, sometimes we have different problems, difficulties. And then we think, oh, this unbelievable, this is an unbelievable situation. I'm going to suicide and so forth. That also, if we want to gain the realization of impermanent, then, today my body is not okay, but maybe tomorrow it will be okay, because not okay is impermanent. Today I don't have much money and so forth, but tomorrow or one day I will get something, because poor means impermanent. Rich means impermanent. Powerful means impermanent. Powerless is impermanent. This is a very, very helpful understanding or realization. Impermanence, it does not always mean it does not mean some negative things. Yeah. It does not always mention about death or something, separate, close friends, and so forth. It helps a lot for us if we gain this realization. It is certain. Okay, it is certain I will die because my body is something composed. Any composed whatsoever is impermanent, and every composed set is destructible by nature. The collection of aphorisms says, alas, all composed are impermanent, characteristics by the birth and decay. That's already I recited. Okay. Maybe we stop here. Yeah. Today we will stop here. And please, if you have this text, you read this. The ornament of perfection of precious liberation. You read. This is very easy to understand. After you read, not just read 1 or 2 pages, you contemplate on there and meditate on there. Then you can get some benefit from this book. Okay, then now we will dedicate our merit and 3 times and 10 directions Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all our Dhamma friends practices are bring together and dedicate for welfare of all mothers and human beings. Chancho Semcho Rinpoche Ma Che Ba Nam Che Jorche Je Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Ya Kone Konde Pe War Sho.
May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful time.